Welcome to my cooking show, The Natural Cook with Anna Gershenson. I'm very excited about the area I live in, the Berkshires. They are magnificent, spiritual, full of culture and wonderful food and farms surrounding us. So today I have a very special guest, Susie Konecki, who is the manager of the Cricket Creek Farm in Williamstown, Massachusetts. I have learned about Cricket Creek Farm very soon after I moved here. So I learned that you were selling raw milk from grass-fed cows. And what did I do? I ran straight to it to see where it's all happening and became a patron right away. So Susie, we would really love to hear more about how you got here and what is so special. But in the meantime, I'll introduce my viewers to what we are going to be cooking today so that we can start cooking and talking while we do that. So because the warm weather is here and we don't want to eat foods that are hot, we want them light and flavorful. So using the cheese from Cricket Creek Farm, I decided to make an eggplant taco, the recipe that I found on the internet. It was a very easy recipe, and if you want to avoid eating grain like bread, tacos, that's wonderful for you. And then we are going to make rhubarb compote with a delicious cheese feta, so Berkshire Bloom, but just kind of like a brie, cheese for eggplant, and feta for the rhubarb. So I will start cutting the eggplant, and in the meantime, Susie, you can start sharing with me everything that makes you excited about the place where you work.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you and to watch you cook. So I came to Cricket Creek about 5.5 years ago. Not having grown up on a farm, I actually grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I was a city kid, but immediately upon leaving Brooklyn was very drawn to food and to farm life. I've always been interested in nutrition and always been interested in really high quality food and how that food is produced. So I had worked on some vegetable farms and some mixed livestock farms, but was very drawn to dairy. And so I knew that my next venture was going to be working on a dairy farm. And I found Cricket Creek in 2010. And while we're primarily a grass-based dairy farm, we also have a small bakery on the farm, and we raise grass-fed beef and whey-fed pork. But our primary focus is grazing cows, milking cows, taking care of the animals, and then making their milk into very high-quality cheese.
Well, and you can definitely taste, if you ever taste this cheese, it already garnered awards at different cheese festivals, and it is truly delicious. The quality of milk really makes the difference. So I wanted to first let you know what I did with my eggplant. So the eggplant, together with the skin, was sliced a little bit under 1/2 inch thick. And then we are going to be putting it on the baking sheet that is lined with parchment. It makes it very easy then to remove everything. So we'll place our eggplant and try to space it in a way that it takes up all the space on your baking sheet, kind of like working in a puzzle. And then Susie is going to help me salt it and oil it, and then we'll bake it. So Susie, first you'll take some salt, and this kosher salt, very sweet and doesn't clump, and you just with one hand drizzle and with the other spread.
Great.
Just like I'm doing. And then once you do it on this side, you'll flip it over and do it on the other side. And then we'll proceed with oil. And the reason, please go ahead. The reason that we are putting the salt is that, first of all, we are seasoning the eggplant. Second of all, we are drawing out the liquid. Eggplant is full of water, and and that really helps us, because once these beads of water appear, then it will be much easier for us to spread the oil on the surface of eggplant. And if you fry it, then the eggplant will absorb as much oil as in the skillet, and you don't really want that. And this is a technique that I developed where I roast it on two sides in 400-degree oven, flipping it halfway for about 8 to 9 minutes on one side until it is soft. You don't want it to fall apart, but you want to make sure that it is soft. And then we are going to be putting the cheese, the Berkshire bloom, and herbs, and kind of like making a taco out of it and eating it. And it's going to be really, really yummy. And cheese is going to be melting into the warm eggplant, and it's going to be really delicious. So now I can see that you are done. Wonderful. Keep doing, right?
Just have a
so
couple more.
You did it on both sides, right? Okay. So now that the seasoning is done, we are going to dip our fingers. You can use a pastry brush if you want to, but it's so easy to use your fingers. And because, yes, now I'll flip it again, because see, the water is there.
The water is getting drawn right out of the eggplant.
Can you help me flip?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So you see, the moisture is there, and it will blend with the oil. And you will just go like this, like dip it, and then spread it. So
Great.
Go ahead.
On both sides?
Yes, you'll do one side first and then the other. So eggplant is actually a fruit, even though we treat it as a vegetable. It came to us from India in the 15th century, and it came to us through Thomas Jefferson. You know how much he loved all kinds of new foods, and he was getting seedlings and seeds from all over the world. And at Monticello, he actually experimented with eggplant, and that's how eggplant came to us. So, Susie, you're doing a wonderful job, even though, yes, you said that you're not really a cook, but your hands are really wonderful at doing just as well as I would be doing it. So after Susie is done now, we'll stick it in the oven, like I said, for 8 to 9 minutes. Okay, Susie, so tell me more about the cheeses that you make.
So we make several different kinds of raw milk cheeses and pasteurized milk cheeses. So some of them are more longer aged and some of them are younger. The two cheeses that we have here today are the feta and the Berkshire bloom, and those are both fresh young cheeses that are just perfect for summer weather. They're actually our two most popular cheeses in the summer weather because they're great with foods that are minimally cooked, great on salads, great to just slice and eat when you want a little snack.
Yes, and that's where I want to tell you, a little bit about feta. I was thinking what recipe to create around this wonderful cheese. I tasted it, and it was very creamy, not too salty, not too strong. And I know that it's great, when tomatoes come, to just get like salads going with tomatoes and cute eggplant and with some fresh herbs, and just throw in feta there, or salads with green beans and olives and feta and dill and a little bit of red onion. But I decided that since we are in the season with rhubarb, because it's already in our farmers markets, and rhubarb is something that is beloved in our area, I thought that I'll make kind of like a compote or cold soup you can call it whatever you want, where we are going to make it, and then once it's chilled, we are going to crumble some cheese over it, and then some flavorings, pistachios for texture, and we'll see how you like it.
Excellent.
So let's, you'll help me now with grating some orange zest. We'll use freshly squeezed orange juice, and then some water. And you can start grating the orange zest for me.
Great.
Right here. Okay. All right. Get it going. So, so we will cook the rhubarb, and you will see that first we'll make this flavorful syrup that I make with just water, freshly squeezed. That's great. That's wonderful, yes. So you see that Susie actually did an expert job, even without my tutelage. And I'm putting the zest into the pot, and I set it up, and I started heating it to bring it to boil. And we are going to also flavor it with ginger. Ginger is very good for you, as you know, and it's also very flavorful, and it will add very nice touch to our compote. So I'm peeling the skin here with spoon. My favorite method, makes it so easy, and you can do the same thing. And then we'll add ginger there, and we'll add some sugar. And you know, I'm always saying, you know, half teaspoon of this, a tablespoon of that. You know, it's important to know really exact quantities when you are baking, but when you are cooking, you should always be tasting. You know, the recipes that I post and the quantities that I mention, they are kind of like to guide you, but you should always taste. Something might be good for me, but not salty enough for you, or vice versa. And so here we're adding. I'll decrease the heat. We're adding some sugar because rhubarb is very tart, but I don't like adding too much sugar, so it will be kind of like sweet and sour. And now that's good. Now you can just dump it there. Wonderful. Okay, so now that we have our syrup, and you can tell us some more about your favorite farm.
Yeah. So one of the things that's most exciting about Crooked Creek is that we're open to the public. And that people can come visit, and it's a great way for people to get connected to agriculture and see how food is produced. And it's great to visit any farm if they are open to visitors, but it's a great way to really connect with little animals, see the cows, watch people make cheese, and similar to a cooking show, they can see kind of the behind the scenes.
Exactly. My favorite time is when I read in your newsletter that a calf was born, or piglets were born, and then we just go there to enjoy them and to pet them. So now the syrup is hot, and we're adding rhubarb. The rhubarb was sliced about 1/2 inch thick, and I sliced. You want to make sure if you have stalks that are kind of thicker, you want to make sure that they are all about the same size. So you can slice them in half. If one is thinner, you can keep it whole. The other one slice in half and then cut it. So now we are going to put it and start cooking it. So as you can see, come here, Susie. As you can see, this rhubarb is bright green. And by the way, I kept the peel because underneath it's all green. So if you want some color, then you want to make sure that you keep this, not the rind, but the peel, and it will cook through, and it will also make your compote pinkish. Okay, now let's check. So you watch this, and you can keep telling me again more about your farm. In the meantime, we will check the eggplant.
Great.
Okay, it's still cooking. Okay, so let's switch places.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of the things that I think makes our makes the cheese that's produced at Cricket Creek so special is that it's so simple. We don't try to add too many fancy things to the cheese. There are no preservatives.
Yes.
There's, very similar to your cooking, I think.
Yes,
It's just
right.
simple ingredients, straightforward ingredients.
Yes.
And the same way that you want your fruits and herbs to really shine through, we want the milk to shine through.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that that's one of the things that makes the cheese so special. Just how
Yes.
simple it is.
How simple it is, yes. Well, how did you, I know that you started with just a couple of cheeses, and then you have just exploded with a variety of cheeses that you are making. Tell me more about this.
Well, we've wanted to, there aren't many people making cheese in the Berkshires, so we've really wanted to kind of fill the gaps and make a whole variety of hard cheeses, soft cheeses, so that we can offer ample choices to our customers who include, people who are cooks like yourself, people who are maybe intimidated to cook, but they just want a nice cheese, as well as chefs in restaurants. We wanted to kind of offer a nice variety.
Yes.
So different cheeses have grown out of that.
Yes. And you even ship your cheeses.
We do. Actually, most of our cheese we ship, and they go as far as New York City and Boston and kind of around the Northeast, and sometimes they end up in other parts of the country as well.
Well, this is great that you found such a niche. I would like, well, first of all, let me focus on this, because as you saw before, the rhubarb was green, and now it's really, the color is becoming more subtle. It's kind of becoming more translucent, and that is a sign that it is actually getting ready. So you don't want it to fall apart. It falls apart very easily. So I made a little slurry to thicken this syrup. You don't want to put cornstarch directly into it, because it will form lumps into the hot liquid. So you add like maybe 2 teaspoons of cornstarch and a tablespoon of water and make a slurry, and then you add it to your compote. And then you just stir it, bring it back to boil, and then you can taste, and if you see that rhubarb is still kind of has a little bite, then you can continue cooking it together with it. You can at this point throw in maybe some raspberries, or you can throw in some strawberries, or just keep it simple like that. As you see, it's thickening nicely, and I'm going to turn it off because I don't want to continue boiling. As I told you before, anything hot continues cooking, even when you turn off the heat. So I'm going to taste to see what the texture is like. It's good. I also feel like a little more sugar wouldn't hurt. So I'll add a little more sugar. But I don't want to overdo, because sugar is not good for anybody. But when you make dessert, you cannot do without. All right, so now I'm going to show Susie, and she'll help me, one of the parts of this. But first, let's check the eggplant, not to forget. Okay. All right. Okay, now the eggplant has cooked halfway. As you see, that I can make an indentation there a little bit, so I'm going to flip it to the other side and then put it back. And then you have to really watch, because you don't want the eggplant to fall apart. You want to make a taco out of it, so you want it to keep the shape. So I think that it won't have to sit that much longer, and then once we take it out, we'll be able to assemble our tacos. Maybe let it cool just a little bit while we are working with our compote. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let's make the sugar. I call it orange sugar, that will go into our compote. So I want to show you. Okay. Let me put this. I prepared. I have to get the ice water, so I'm going to walk off the set for a second. Okay, so I want to chill my compote quickly, so I'm going to dip it into ice water, and it will happen very quickly then, because since I'm adding cheese, I don't want cheese to be like melting into it. I want it still to keep its shape. So let's put it in the back. Okay, so one of the things that will go on top of this rhubarb compote is crumbled feta, and you can help me to crumble it. So you know how to do it. And then another thing will be chopped pistachios. They will add nice crunch. So I will just chop them, and everything will be smooth and soft, and so pistachios will be wonderful. And then we'll also prepare, in the meantime, mint will go on it as well. So I'll take some mint leaves and I'll shred them thinly and we'll sprinkle them on top. So these are kind of our adornments and yummy, yummy things to finish our compote. Okay, and one more thing that is wonderful, because we already have orange flavor in it. So I made orange sugar. The best sugar to use is raw sugar because it has bigger granules. And what you do, like what Susie just did, you would grate some orange zest. Go ahead. And then, yes, I'll put it in separately so that we don't use the whole thing. Just grate it. And then with your fingers, you will just work it in, and the flavorful oils will go into the sugar and will perfume it, and then it will impart its wonderful flavor and a little more sweetness to your compote. Okay, great. So now, do you want to wipe your fingers?
Sure.
Yes. Right. Work it in.
I think that it's so wonderful to show people what interesting different things you can use the cheese for.
Right.
Most people just think cheese and crackers, cheese sandwich, but it's really so versatile.
Yes, exactly.
You use it for so much.
Yes. This is why I was so excited to have you on my show, first of all, to share about this wonderful business that we have right here in our area. And also, I don't remember if we talked about what is special about your milk, besides like how you get this wonderful flavor, and what is called sustainable farming. Can you talk more about it?
Sure. Well, the cows live outside and they're fed grass, and they move to a new spot every 12 hours. So they always get the most fresh grass possible because they're never on one spot for more than 12 hours. And I think that that adds so much to the flavor of the milk, but not just the flavor, also the quality of the milk.
Yes.
It's very rich in protein and fat and minerals. It's a great milk for making cheese. It's just full of flavor. And so really what the cows are eating ultimately contributes
Exactly. Well, we need to remember that what the cows are eating, we are eating.
Yeah, absolutely.
That whatever diet the cows are on, we don't really give it much thought, but whatever diet the cows are on, that passes into our body. So grass-fed cows are actually, grass has omega-3. So when they're not fed with grain, which is source of omega-6s that causes inflammation in your body, that's something that we probably don't even think about.
Right.
So that's important piece of knowledge. All right, so I think that, let me check this quickly. Okay. All right. Okay. Our eggplant is almost done. So what we'll do now, we will finish our compote. Okay. So
Beautiful
we'll
glass.
cook the compote,
What a color.
and then we'll sprinkle with some feta and our pistachios. I'm looking what I did with them. Okay. Pistachios and orange sugar and mint. Isn't it beautiful? And we're going to taste it soon.
That's gorgeous.
Okay, so now we're going to our eggplant. Let's make room for it here. Okay. All right, so now I'll show you how to assemble the eggplant. And what we are going to do, we have our herbs, which is cilantro and basil. I chopped them up. So you will take your eggplant, and I already pre-cut the brie, and you will take it and put a piece of brie inside. Let me see, for taste, I want to see whether this is seasoned enough, and the rest of them, then I'll know. Yeah, it's seasoned nicely. So we'll put a piece of cheese, and then we'll put some herbs. And I brought some radishes for texture. If we put some slices of radishes, it will, against soft eggplant, it will give us some bite, which will be very nice. So we'll put it like this. And then we'll take the next one, and then put cheese and a little bit of herbs and radishes, and wrap it, and keep going like that. Here you can put even 2 pieces of cheese, because it's a bigger piece. And then you can eat it as a taco, and it's going to be very delicious and nutritious. Okay, so how do you work on delivering your message to customers? I know that a lot of them are very excited. You live in a community that supports you.
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the most important things for me is communicating with our community about what it takes to produce food and what they can do with food like this. So we attend farmers markets where we like to talk to customers and get out and interact. People are welcome to come to the farm at any time and learn more about how we raise the cows and how we make the cheese. People can find information online about the farm. And there's just so many great farms in the Berkshires that all, for the most part, are looking to tell their story.
Yes.
And looking to share with customers, and just interested people, whether they're customers or not. And really, the Berkshires are just such a resource for knowledgeable farmers and great cooks.
Thank you.
And people who love food and want to talk about food.
Yes, this is why I feel so fortunate that we chose to live here, and we never looked back. We just love being here and supporting our farmers markets. I always look forward to going to the farmers market and talking to farmers, finding out what's new, and of course visiting,
It's okay.
visiting, be careful. Okay, so now that our tacos are ready, what we want to do is just sprinkle some pepper.
Beautiful.
And maybe drizzle a little bit of olive oil. And you can squeeze some lemon juice. So I brought this very special pomegranate syrup that is tart, and it's going to be great drizzled on top. But lemon juice is great too if you cannot get this. And so you have this one more beautiful dish. Okay, so
Lovely.
I hope you enjoyed our show. We had a wonderful guest here today with us, Susie Konecki, who shared a lot of interesting things, why we're all so excited about the farm. So please watch my show and go ahead and make this at home. I know that you will enjoy it. And all the recipes are posted on my Facebook page, The Natural Cook with Anna Gershenson.